When we were kids, my older brother managed to wangle getting a hamster, and we named it Sonic. Don't ask. It made sense at the time. And then we found out Sonic was a girl, which made even less sense later. But anyway, as it kind of went through its years with us, it was tortured for most of its life because we kept putting it in this gyroscopic ball and then watching it try and escape around the living room and then not be able to keep up with itself because it was so fat and full of carrot. This leads me on to Hamster Playground, a free-to-play game that gives you all of this experience and much more. You get to adopt various different hamsters and place it into your side-on viewed house, which is like a giant hamster box or cage that's made out into several different rooms that allow you to do several different things. Hamster Playground is split into two real clear gameplay loops. The first one is just the general looking after the hamsters. So once you pick a hamster, and it's got different traits on it as to whether it's a hungry one, whether it's energetic, whether it's a balanced hamster. And what this will mean is that when you either need to feed it, water it, make it go to the toilet, clean it, make sure that it plays, and make sure that it goes to sleep, you need to be able to fulfill all of these stats, very similar to a sim in the Sims game. And the hamster will be quite happy so long as you make sure that these stats are fulfilled. Doing this earns you XP, which levels you up as you go along. When you level up, you get given a variety of different currency, which I'll circle back round to, but one of them is acorns. Acorns is the gateway to the second part and the much more exciting part of Hamster Playground, training your hamsters to go into races. Your hamsters also have 4 different traits. They have strength, intelligence, agility, and determination. And you spend your acorns on the gym that trains one specific trait as you go along. These traits diminish over time, so you constantly have to go back and spend acorns to level up your hamster over and over and over again, so that you can then build out your hamster into what you want to take into the different races as you go along. You can level up 80 times across those 4 different traits, and it's up to you kind of how you split it, although I found it was quite happy to just go 20, 20, 20, 20. Once you've then leveled up your hamster a few times, it's then wise for you to then start taking it into races. And you can do this either against AI locally, or you can then join lobbies online with up to 4 players taking part in various races. There are 3 different types of races. The first one is a maze race, which is the most engaging of the 3, I must admit. And the idea of this is that you and a competitive mouse, either an AI or an online person, trying to get their hamster through the maze. And it's a mixture of the stats that you've built up over time, which then affect very simple mini games that involve the mouse and you just left clicking on things as to whether or not your hamster is successful in being able to complete the challenge quickly. So, for example, one might just be like spamming left click so that you can then show your strength in a certain period of time. Another one is clicking within like a certain time frame of a swinging pendulum. Another one is a circle that drops inwards and you need to click it at the right timing there. The one that really adds the most difference is the match the card option, because it flips over a card and then asks you to match the pattern that's going on in front of your eyes. And sometimes they're a bit tricky to pick up. That's what the mazes races play as. And whoever's first over the line gets some coins, some additional star currency, and some more acorns, which then allows you to train and make your hamster more powerful. Because again, everything's diminishing over time. It's a free-to-play game after all. The other 2 options are a skateboarding race, which is all around making sure that you click within a certain time period as the pendulum kind of swings back and forth over those races. And then there's eating contests, which are around finding the matching food card that matches the one that's displayed on top out of the 4 that go through, and you left click when the arrow is pointing to the one that you need to click. That is all the gameplay that there is to Hamster Playground. And that is a blessing initially, but a curse for if you want long-term gameplay. And the reason for this is that you see everything the game has to offer very, very quickly. And then it's just making sure that you are invested in wanting to see your hamster compete against other people around the world and making sure that you can connect online to those battles to kind of keep your hook in. One of the best things about this being a free-to-play game, though, is that they haven't gone too crazy on the microtransactions, and they're largely there for a cosmetic point of view. Because in order to repair damaged items in your house or upgrade them so that they damage slower over time, that's all involving coins. You can only win coins by levelling up your hamster by looking after them. You can't buy coins through microtransactions. What you can do is buy this kind of gem currency with real money through microtransactions that change the fur colours and fur patterns of your hamster. And that's really all that there is to monetize, because the decorations that you buy to put inside the house and the clothing that you buy inside the house are not tied largely to that monetary transaction. A few things are, some of the more expensive stuff, but the vast majority of it isn't. So you do get a fully rounded game here that you can invest some time in without having to spend much money, and none at all in my case. But yeah, it does kind of then go, I've done a couple of races of each. I've leveled up my hamsters within, it takes just over an hour to level up a hamster so that it's got all 80 levels cleared if you're just constantly playing with one hamster. And then you kind of go, oh, I've done it all. What's there to offer? And it's needing you to kind of come back and have that competitive nature over time to really keep you going. The main issue of this is that, sadly, the online matchmaking is really, really struggling at launch. And whilst there is a roadmap that does start to talk about having different tasks and quests and giving hamsters jobs so that they can then do things with it, there's only a few other things that are coming down the path that I think would add longevity to Hamster Playground beyond a couple of hours in free to play. And that's all around things like additional races, more advanced races, and there's talk of there being a maze builder so that you can build and publish your own creations going forward. Now that's great, but if everything is still tied to those same 4 mini games as your differentiators between a good hamster and a bad hamster, and there's no other differentiations too much around levelling up to try and keep the playing field of a race fair, it's kind of limited, and it's limited to the point where the player is removed rather than being the player is invested enough to make a tangible change on the outcomes of these races. So whilst Hamster Playground is utterly cute, it does feel a little bit hands-off, and so it's difficult to recommend beyond a couple of hours of play. However, it is free, so if this looks cute enough and you fancy having an hour or two of just mucking about in this, you can do an awful lot worse, but just don't expect coming in to be so desperately hooked into this game that you're going to be here 10 hours later going, come on hamster, run faster. I just don't see it happening. Written review over on highplanegames.com. Take care. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.